On the Elissa. Brought to you by Market Basket, St. Elizabeth Hospital, and Pizza Hut.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Buard.
I'm Gene Tuck. In the next 30 minutes, we'll take you on a trip back in time. We'll show you a little bit of the life of a sailor in the late 1800s.
The reason we can do that is because the sailing ship Elissa was built in 1877. Well, the Elissa has come to the Golden Triangle, and Gene and the Channel 12 Eyewitness News crew were on board all the way from Palacios.
Lots of folks turned out in Beaumont today to tour the Elissa, and that's the kind of reception she's gotten everywhere she goes, including her last stop.
In Palacios, there was a huge turnout. School children were bused to the harbor from as far away as 100 miles. Thousands of them got guided tours of the Elissa.
This mechanism here is called the windlass. That's what they use to raise the anchor when they get ready.
The folks acting as guides for the tour are mostly volunteer crew members. Shirley Courts said they are really teaching the kids a lesson about the future.
It's not anything of the past that we're trying to tell them, but the future. Trying to preserve something like this for the future generations so they'll know what it was all about.
And how do they respond to that?
Well, we get different reactions. You know how children can be, but no, they really think she's great.
And what about the adults that come through? What's their reaction?
Oh, most of the adults just think she's the most magnificent thing they ever saw.
I talk to people from all over the world on the Elissa, and I watch the kids especially. If you will give them an opportunity, they will ask you real questions. And when they leave the Elissa, then they can go home and they can more or less understand what they're doing in history. And before, if you talk about the older ships that may be the discovery of this country, they can't really get a feel of them. They come aboard the Elissa, then they know what this country was built with.
Of course, your first thoughts are about the past when you see the Elissa. She's been around about 112 years now, and her links to the past are what makes her part of our future.
But what was it like in 1877 when the Elissa made her maiden voyage? She left a port in Great Britain carrying a load of coal to Brazil. There were probably just 13 people aboard. On the trip from Palacios, there were 20 on the crew, so we didn't have to work nearly as hard as those sailors in the 1800s. And with the exception of yours truly, all of the crew members are volunteers. They have to put in 50 hours of work, painting, scraping, scrubbing, and other such drudgery aboard the Elissa before they're allowed to go on any sailing trips.
You put in 50 hours of work on Elissa, maintenance, whatever. And you also have to attend 10 weekends of sail training to get you ready, and that will qualify you if you pass all of this.
So every person on this crew is pretty well qualified.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. They're a good crew, and I enjoy working with them very much.
What do you think about being on the Elissa? Why do you do it?
I love it. There's nothing like it. I've wanted it ever since I was about 10 years old. Had a twin brother. We both agreed that someday we were going to sail to Tahiti on a square rigger. We didn't make it, but I'm getting close to it. And it's beautiful. I just love it.
And while the crew works, they all use a strange language that leaves us landlubbers asking, huh? But they seem to understand when the captain gives an order.
Dareth, brail in the spanker, lay aloft, pass the gaskets.
Aye, aye, sir.
What does that mean?
He said he wants us to brail in the spanker, lay aloft, and pass the gaskets.
Oh, I'm sorry I asked. I did learn one thing, though. If somebody says up from behind, that means let go the rope.
That's right. Comes from come up from behind. Let the rope come to me.
I would have guessed 1,000 guesses before I'd have known that one.
Old sailors said odd things.
What kind of a schedule does a sailor have, and what are his duties?
We'll take a look at the way the work is assigned when 3 days on the Elissa continues in a moment.
all of you who've waited patiently, you can now get a Pizza Inn Sport Watch for just $1.59 with any pizza purchase.
One half of the people who suffer heart attacks don't believe it. They ignore the warning signs, the sweating, nausea, and dizziness, the pain in the shoulders, neck, and arms, the pressure in the center of the chest. They ignore the warning signs and waste vital time before seeking treatment. 1/3 of them are dead on arrival. If you even think you may be having a heart attack, don't delay. Call your doctor or go to your local hospital immediately. A heart-saving message from the Heart Network.
Every day, news happens around the Golden Triangle. Sometimes so fast, though, that only someone that's nearby, like a 12 News hound, can capture the action. Like Silsbee's Charles Bradshaw, who recently shot this early morning accident at a remote area near Pine Island Bayou with his home VHS camera.
When I heard about the accident, I grabbed my camera and went to the scene. That's how I got the pictures.
When fast news happens and you cover it, call 12 News at 838-1212 and stand by to be a 12 News hound.
Tonight, a touch of romance. Ooh. Perfect strangers, and
I am going to be Mr. Romance.
That name's taken already.
Full house, then.
I'm Mr. Belvedere.
The family only comes in 2 sizes.
Mr. Belvedere, and
Well, maybe I understand sex more than you think.
just the time.
Probably not.
Then a look at cervical cancer among sexually active young women on 2020.
They're complete opposites.
Eerie, isn't it?
One's a little old-fashioned.
Me? Don't be silly.
The other's thoroughly modern.
She must be fabulous.
It's an unlikely attraction.
Am I the only one in this house that think this idea is crazy?
Kate and Allie, weekday mornings on Channel 12.
On the Elissa is divided up among 3 crews, or watches as they call it. Each crew member puts in 2 4-hour shifts per day.
Yeah, you're going to be on the wheel tonight.
The first thing they do is to meet on deck, the entire watch group, a few minutes before they go on duty. This is the 8 to 4 watch, working under 3rd mate Paul Bungay.
John Lee on the 4 to 8 watch. They're responsible for the handling of sails, should that arise due to high wind, storm, or the adding of sail in light winds. Any emergency that arises, say possible collision with another vessel, we need someone on bow watch keeping a very vigilant lookout.
But there are routine things to do besides looking out for emergencies. We each took turns at the wheel. And we checked down below, too, looking in the bills to make sure the Elissa wasn't taking on water from a leak. And we had to check the engine room, using a log to put down the readings on the generator. And checking on the diesel engine. Putting down temperature and oil pressure readings and the RPMs. Not exactly glamorous jobs, right? But it gets worse. Don't forget there are dishes to wash. There's a real community spirit on the Elissa, with everybody pitching in to do their part. And don't forget to dry those dishes. Most people dread the 12 to 4 shift, but some people like the dead of the night.
I really enjoy it. I feel like you're living a little history and getting to live something that happened 100 years ago, and that's why I prefer one of the watches, because 12 at midnight to 4 in the morning, because it's dark and the stars are out most of the time, and you can imagine yourself a sailor 100 years ago without any trouble at all.
Is that the most thrilling thing about it? Just using your imagination?
Well, and being out on the ocean in a large sailing vessel, a square rig sailing vessel, it's just something. This is the only square rig ship in the world where the average person on the street can go sailing.
At nighttime especially, the crew members should appreciate some of the modern features that have been installed on the Elissa in recent years. Some of those features make life safer for the crew, and some make life easier. 2 big generators provide electric power for the Elissa, one always ready if the other goes out. And there's a 450 horsepower diesel engine for times when the wind is blowing the wrong way. But perhaps the greatest technological advance when it comes to safety is the radar.
Well, our radar is probably our most important navigational aid. Especially at nighttime or in bad visibility, it tells us any other vessels, now that we have oil platforms out here to deal with, that we can see them. Distances, our radar is our most important tool. We have our Loran navigation system here, which is automatic latitude and longitude, tells us where we are at any given moment that we need to know.
A little easier now than the first crew aboard the Elissa, huh?
Well, that's true. A lot of those guys 100 years ago basically had to follow their nose.
But along with the modern radar and the Loran navigating device, some things, namely the sails, are still the same. Crew members still have to climb up there to take in the sails or let them out. Oh, that looks like Gene tucking the rigging. If he is scared, he's trying not to show it because the oldest crew member says it doesn't bother him a bit.
Roger, I understand you're one of the greenest members of the crew, but you have seniority some other way. How's that?
Well, I think I'm the oldest man on the crew. I think that's a dubious honor, but I am.
How old is that?
70 years old, sir.
I suppose you got a driver's license or something you can prove that, huh?
Yes, sir, I have.
I've seen you up on the rigging there. You're not a little frightened up there, are you?
Not in the least. That's great. That's a great feeling to be up there. You can feel how alive the ship really is when you start swinging back and forth up there.
I've seen you doing a lot of hard work here.
Yes, sir. It's hard work sailing. I enjoy it, though, very much.
Next on 3 Days on the Elissa, we'll take a look at some of the people aboard.
We'll visit with the captain on the ship and some of the volunteers from the Golden Triangle in just a moment.
Sportsmen, the 5th Annual Hunting and Fishing Show is this weekend at the Beaumont Civic Center. See over 100 booths filled with hunting and fishing guides and outfitters, manufacturers, and distributors. Attend seminars at the Hog Drop, a 5,000-gallon glass tank filled with bass. Visit the largest privately owned white-tailed deer collection in the country, including 20 Boone and Crockett's. See an archery demonstration where wooden discs and even pennies are shot out of the air. Attend Hal Newsom's amazing snake show where a live cobra is kissed on the head. It all happens this weekend at the Beaumont Civic Center. Don't miss it.
It's the ultimate savings event. It's a big red riot at Weberg Furniture. Certified red tag reductions of up to 60% on sofas, love seats, and chairs. Bargain after bargain. Tables, sectionals, and recliners. Yes, save up to 60% at Weberg's Big Red Riot. Certified red tag reductions on dining rooms, dinettes, bedrooms, even mattresses. Buy with no money at all. Nothing down and no payments for 90 days. It's the ultimate savings riot. A Big Red Riot. This weekend at Weberg Furniture.
I did it in '88. I'm going to do it in '89. A new truck for only $99.99. I'm Morris Moore, and I'm priced this loaded '89 full-size pickup for only $99.99. You'll save thousands with factory rebates, low financing, and Morris Moore discounts. That means a full-size pickup for only $99.99. So make their short drive to Silsbee or our new location in Beaumont. At both locations, you'll find great selection of cars and trucks to choose from. And whether you buy from Morris Moore Chevrolet Buick in Silsbee or Beaumont, you'll always get a more, better deal.
Visit your Do-It Center, and here's what you'll find.
A fun place to shop.
Value prices.
Good advice.
A full line of do-it-yourself products.
Fast, friendly service, and
money-saving specials.
You'll find it all at your Do-It Center store.
Now you can at your Do-It Center store.
Do it yourself and save at Parker Lumber Do-It Center's Home Project Sale, going on now through April 15th.
One man's word is law on any ship, whether it's a sailing ship or engine-powered. He sets a good example, and the crew looks up to him. He's the master of the ship, the captain.
Slack the spanker.
And the captain of the Elissa is Jay Bolton, a man who had been captain of the huge supertankers before he took over the sailing ship. The channel coming out of Palacios was tricky because it is shallow and narrow. But Captain Bolton had no problems with the Elissa.
Every ship has different ship handling characteristics that needed to be taken into account. The Elissa is a very handy ship. She maneuvers very well.
Do the sails help you?
And on occasion, we use the sails in lieu of tugboats because they can be more effective and we can control them ourselves. So very often in docking maneuvers or maneuvering around a harbor, we'll use the sails to help us maneuver.
Once at sea, a ship follows a carefully planned course drawn out on the charts.
The hazards that we're really concerned about, or we pay very close attention to, are the oil rigs, platforms, and the other fine things we see in the Gulf of Mexico. And we therefore navigate within the safety fairways, and so therefore traffic sometimes becomes of concern or requires particular attention.
There's an amazing number of those rigs and standpipes.
There sure are. Sometimes you wonder if there's room for the water.
Captain Bolton says the big difference on the Elissa is the enthusiasm of the crew. He said they are hard workers and they get things done in a hurry. 5 volunteer crew members on the voyage of the Elissa from Palacios to the Golden Triangle are local people, and they really seem to enjoy the chance to relive history.
It's, you go back in time when you start to stop a ship, you know. You see them in the movies, but this is reality. You're going back in time, you know. It's a lot of fun. And I invite everybody to come and join us.
Caesar Aguirre is from Port Arthur. Other local crew members include Mary Snelling of Port Neches, Richard Spenny of Beaumont, Shirley Courts of Lumberton, and Randy Morvant of Viter.
Ready?
All of them are sure this is what they want to do.
You know, there's very few people in our life that have the chance to sail on a square rigger, especially a female.
What was your biggest surprise?
Surprise? Well, I really don't think that, I guess the hard work, really. It's a lot harder than what I thought it would be, but it's still a lot of fun. Even getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning.
I found out that through a little work and a little of your time spent, you can go sailing on a 100-year-old sailing ship. So I went down and volunteered, and sure enough, they let you do that.
This was always a fantasy to me. I'd see the movies with the tall ships and think if I could just been born a man back in that century, I could have, you know, gone to sea, but I never thought I'd have this opportunity till I found out about the Elissa, and it's a fantasy coming true. I'm not a man, and I'm born in this century, but it's still coming true.
Randy, what got you involved with the Elissa?
Well, one night, sitting in my living room, I was watching television, watching the news, of course, and there was a call for volunteers in Galveston to sail the Elissa, and I thought I'd go down and check it out. And I was going to spend about a day or two, you know, maximum. Well, 2.5 years ago. This is where my life began with the Elissa, and I've gotten involved in the engine room and the machinery of the Elissa, and now I'm training more or less up in the rigging and on deck, and this is where it is for me.
How many hours a year you figure you spend aboard the Elissa?
Right at 1,000 hours.
It's not hard work. You enjoy doing it, you know. You take pride in your ship, and it's part of the job, you know.
They do everything. Just general maintenance of the ship. Everything from chip and rust to woodwork. You know, it just depends on what your own qualifications are. They have a job for everybody.
My great-grandfather was an old sea captain, and he passed away quite well over 100 years old. And then my grandfather served as an apprentice under him, and he, of course, used to tell us these sea stories and the tall tales of the sea aboard square riggers, and of course that must have got in my veins, and I followed through with it, and now sailing on the Elissa has fulfilled a long dream of my life.
Well, that's the story on board the Elissa, but what about the people on shore?
We'll show you how the Elissa has a big audience everywhere she goes when we return.
The best of today and the best of yesterday, all in digital stereo. Listen to 108 KWIC.
Through Monday at Kenzel Toyota, we have over 70 used cars and trucks for you to choose from, all for just $99 down. That's right, just $99 down. Here's some great examples. A Plymouth Turismo or a Tercel wagon, both for just $99 down, $99 a month. Or choose from these, a Buick Century or a Nissan Extra Cab for just $99 down, $99 a month. We have over 70 used cars and trucks for you to choose from, all for just $99 down. Hurry in on the savings at the only place to buy a used car or truck, Kenzel Toyota.
It's great. I laugh all the time.
You won't just laugh. You'll laugh.
I love Hawkeye.
Not that kind of a boy. What are people laughing about? The best 1-2 punch comedy hour on TV.
I'm gonna waste the sucker!
First, it's MASH. Weeknights at 10:30 after the news.
Bouncing Betty. Decadent.
Then, it's a place where the cases are as unusual as the judge himself. Night Court. It's a non-stop comedy hour that can't be beat. Here on Channel 12.
Walk America. So come on, everybody, let's get in step. Those precious little children really need our help. Walk America. Walk America.
You know, it's not just the people who sail on the Elissa who enjoy her. Wherever she goes, people gather along the shore and wave to her as she goes by. The Elissa gets lots of attention wherever she goes. Some of the school kids who toured the Elissa in Palacios stayed around to watch her sail away, and quite a few of the adults were there too. Everywhere she goes, people gather at vantage points along the way just to see her go by. People were waiting in Sabine Pass, Port Arthur, and a huge crowd at Port Neches Park. Members of the Coast Guard Auxiliary were the first to greet the Elissa when she arrived.
And we drove down, and we're going to follow y'all back in.
How does it feel being on an old sailing ship like
It
this?
feels great. It looks small from the water, but when you get on it, it looks real big and real nice.
You're the first welcoming party to come aboard.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited.
We were just going to come down and escort her in along with the Coast Guard. I brought my boat down, and we just had a real enjoyable time coming down to meet her, and we're looking forward to going in with her.
And one lucky youngster got to ride on the Elissa from Port Arthur to Beaumont.
What's your name?
John Pat.
And how old are you?
6.
Well, how do you like the Elissa?
Good.
What have you seen since you got on the Elissa?
Boats, big steering wheel, and flags, and people, and that's all.
Lots of people, huh?
Uh-huh.
Would you like for this ship to stay here all the time so you could get on it?
Uh-huh.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed our short voyage aboard the Elissa. If you want to get a close-up look, though, there are public tours daily at Beaumont's Riverfront Park for the next week and a half.
You know, Rebecca, there's a lot more to be seen, and as we say goodnight, let's take a look at some more scenes from the Elissa's voyage to the Golden Triangle.
Days on the Elissa has been brought to you by Market Basket, St. Elizabeth Hospital, and Pizza Hut.